From the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanthan Jetty. You're watching Shanthan Jetty Art, and welcome to another Sunday, episode 15, can you believe it, of Comics and Curios inside the studio. And I want to welcome you all and tell you that they say that you can't have too much of a good thing. And depending on how you view it, a good thing is, some things are good things, some things aren't. For me, I don't thrive on a lot of sleep. And I made the mistake of getting a full night's sleep, quite by accident last night. And I feel way too relaxed. Feels weird. I felt almost hungover from too much sleep. I don't know what to say. And of course, I got to start by saying hello to Mark's Music Obsession channel member and nouveau OG, if that's a thing. It's great to see you, and of course, infamous Mr. Cursed, bringing the energy, bringing the noise. Let's go! Indeed, let's go. Mo Biggs in the house. What's up, Mo Biggs? Keeping it real. And we have caught, of course, the lovely Cursed Art Creations in the chat. And lest we forget, and we shall never forget, I still got my friend hanging out here on stream. So, thank you and hail. And of course, speaking of OG, legend, I don't know what I would do without this man. And so glad for not only his beautiful profile pic and artwork, but the way he's been throwing it down lately. Jeremy Burt's art, I tip my cap to you if I had a cap. But I doff it to you, good sir. We've got the Artist Paintbrush. Hail, Shanthan, hail, Chad. Hail to you, my friend. I hope you are doing well, and I hope everybody's doing well on this fine Sunday. Guys, oh my gosh. To quote Art Bell using a famous saying, I feel like a one-armed paper hanger right now. I've been running around trying to get the credits ready, trying to get all this stuff ready, but so much cool stuff to talk about. It has been another wild week here. Still waiting on the printer to do the to get me the high-end proof. I did message them on Friday, and they said we're still working on it because they're setting the press up or getting the color right for the printer proof, because they know, they just know how what's the word I'm looking for? How specific I am about the colors for you guys. So they've been doing a great job. I'm not worried about it at all, and they've been terrific to work with, and I just can't wait to see it. Right now, I just cannot wait to see Nosfero, both books printed in together. And of course, guys, Springball is still live. It's still live on Indiegogo. Looking forward to just sharing that story with you guys. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about, the different types of stuff I'm making, hence the thumbnail. Because people have been asking me in terms of, do I like to work in digital? Do I like to work in traditional? What's the way that I like to work? And so I wanted to talk about a bunch of those things. I wanted to talk about how many things that, or why I do what I do, what makes me select different things. Bruce Campbell's chin in the house. They know you are a perfectionist, to put it nicely. Yeah, they do, and they are too. I was just, K-pop junkie, I was just talking to my daughter about you, and of course, I would like to offer you on this fine Sunday a hearty Jimin. So, may Jimin be with you, K-pop junkie. What is up, Scorpiorpio? It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Happy Sunday, everybody. So, yeah, so this is a page that I was working on for Springball Terminal Monstosity, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about. Leighton is here. What's up, Leighton? Happy Sunday, man. It's good to see you, brother. If my face looks a bit puffy and exhausted and sad, it's only because I got a full night's sleep, and I woke up, I think I may have gotten 12 hours of sleep, which I don't recommend, because I usually do 4 hours of sleep, and I don't know what hit me. I don't know whether to scratch my watch or wind my behind, as they say, and I am just, I don't know what to say. I feel like someone stole daylight from me. It's a very strange feeling. So this is a page I've been working on for Springball, which is, of course, the link's in the description. It's a brand new first issue relaunch of this character Springball that I created in, gosh, I want to say I created him probably around freshman year in college, around the time Rocky and I met, and we were just, creating characters. And he's getting new life thanks to my friend John Malin and his encouragement, my brother Rocky and his encouragement, and Dan Lawless and his encouragement as well. But John's been a real champion for this book and inspired me to come back and visit it. But here's the thing. Are you still using the trackpad, you madman? I am. I was just using it to do the 2 digital pieces in this thumbnail. I was using the trackpad, believe it or not. And if I can, let me see if I can show you what I mean here. Open recent, there are tons and tons of things. Not there, not there, not there, not there. Nope. Timeline. I could have sworn I had it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find this. Because we are talking about this kind of thing. Let me look for find and see if this works. Oh my gosh, my Mac is a disaster area. Let me see. And I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. All right, so I've got that set because I want to make sure I'm keeping this stuff. Frankenstein. Where the heck is it? Here we go. Let's open this up. There we are. Let's see if this works. This right here is an example of if you guys know the famous painting of Mary Shelley, this is this famous painting of Mary Shelley that has been around, and I started doing research, finding old illustrations of her, and so I went in and completely reworked it, if you know the painting, and I painted all of this stuff, and you can see I put canvas texture over it. I painted all of this stuff with trackpad, various layers, grabbing different facial features of things and trying to figure out how to do it. But all of this stuff is done as a part of just one small part of a documentary on Mary Shelley I've been working on, because she is one of the most misrepresented figures in all of history. So yeah, that is the kind of stuff I'm doing, and that's the stuff I'm going to talk about today while I work and I show you the approach to Springball. So one of the things I ran into when I was looking at Springball and I was approaching how I was going to go about it, to bring it back and to make it something that was new, and then I wanted to share with you guys and bring back, because it has to, the story and the idea of how to approach it has to justify itself. Like, it can't be doing it just to do it, because that's not how I have a tendency to work. I want to do something that's meaningful, because whatever I do is going to take a lot of time, and it's going to be, you only have so much time on this planet, as you guys know, to make work, and the things that you do, you want to make sure they were worth the doing. So this right here is a part of the build-up to the climax of the story. And what I found in working on Springball, oh, it's cool, cloudy, and windy today. Not a fan. Yeah, it is freezing, windy, but we do have blue skies outside, which is wonderful, and we're great. Woo! What's up, Shanthan Chat? What is up, Caleb Reynolds? How are you doing, man? Was in the running. This will be used in a court of law, Sean's insanity defense. Lord knows it will be. He made this with a trackpad, Your Honor. I think what I will enter a guilty plea, so it will not be difficult, because that is how that's how it goes. So when I'm building this stuff and I'm illustrating it and trying to figure out what it's going to be, I got to the climax of Springball, and my wife goes, "You're not going to change it too much, are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to freshen it up a bit." And that is why you can back the Springball Throwback Edition on the campaign, because at a certain point I was like, this has to be, I have to make a new comic, in a sense. I'm going to use this as a basis. And so when I got to the end of this book and I looked at the cliffhanger of this book, I went, the cliffhanger that I'm looking at right now and the cliffhanger that I had for the book is what's the word? How do I word it? It's a cliffhanger that would be exciting for a Spider-Man comic. It's a cliffhanger that would be exciting for, it would be exciting for a smaller, less epic world that I'm introducing the audience to. You know, it's like, oh, and there's one monster, and there's our hero, and what's going to happen? Not what I'm looking for with this book, especially as it has grown as it progresses towards the end of the book. And I realized I needed to create a brand new environment. I needed to create a, again, the three rules of pulp, right? It's mystery, danger, and a little bit of sexiness. Now, while I don't have sexiness particularly in this part of the book, the danger and mystery is a big part of it. And what's up? Yes. Guys, it's so great to see you guys on this Sunday. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button. Share this out on the social medias, on the interwebs, and we'll go from where we go to. Leighton Gay, channel member, it's great to see you. Let me say hi to my channel members. I haven't done that enough lately. Jeremy Burtz, welcome. I did make sure I updated my channel member credits right before, so I've been, again, running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Let's see, Mark's Music Obsession, of course. Infamous Mr. Cursed. It's great to see you, my friend. Welcome. And, of course, Cursed Heart Creations. Great to see you, and again, thank you for the beautiful, beautiful artwork, and thank you to my channel members. So, I was working on this thing, and I started thinking about when I tell stories. I love doing monster stories. I love doing haunted stories and creature stories. But scope is such an important part of what I want to do with this story. I want to say, to tip my cap to the letterer on Nosfero and the newly minted painter. I haven't seen him in ages, or I haven't talked to him in ages, just every now and again. I gotta say hey and happy Sunday to him. The great Eric Weathers. We're not in Kansas anymore when you see this book. You're not in Kansas anymore. If whatever you know about, or whatever you would expect to be the situation a hero with this type of aesthetic would be in, this superhero aesthetic, which I love superhero comics, let me be clear. It's not going to be your standard superhero comic, and you need to know that by the time you get to the end of issue 1. It's the same thing with Nosfero. You know, you've got to know this is a comic book with various stakes. It's a comic book that deals with Nosfero anyway. Issues of faith in the sense that Hammer horror movies did. I've never been more excited as an artist to be working and doing what I do. I've never been more excited. And you guys supporting the stuff I'm doing, and ComicsGate support, which is I mean, I know I've talked about that a lot last stream, but if you're, my generation and you've tried to, do independent comics and that kind of thing, the most frustrating thing about it is how difficult it is to get your stuff out. Even YouTube and the algorithm can push you down. And the thing that's been great about ComicsGate is it's the creators in the space have been really supportive, and they're always very supportive, and it's a very mutual kind of respect. And can I help you? And is there something I can do for you? For those of you guys who haven't seen it, what's up, Past Master Dan? It is great to see you, brother. If you haven't, when you've been here for a while, I was watching the launch of Two-Fisted Manly Tales #2. Which, if mods, can you put Sunday and Survived is exactly how I see it. That's so how I see Sunday. Graham Nolan just launched Two-Fisted Manly Tales issue 2. If you mods could put a link for that in the chat, I would appreciate it. So, Graham Nolan started the stream, and I think I was getting ready for Hard Art at the time, which is on John Malin's channel on Wednesdays. Or Shane's channel, actually. Either it goes between the two channels. I saw the opening, and the opening where you see Graham Nolan sitting there with a cigar and the eagle lands on his shoulder is from his intro for ComicsGate Kings that I did all the while back. And so that was a frame-by-frame animation I put together. This is before AI, and it was trying to have that rustic sort of feel. That's what we do. And little did I know when I did it that Graham was going to suggest who I should use as a printer. What's up? The original Springball fan is here. Indeed. And that's right. Thank you for offering your support, Tiny Effort. It's a pleasure to see you, man. Rest in peace, Butch Geist. 100%. Chattanooga's own. Chattanooga's own. From my hometown. And what a legend. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out, whoops, didn't mean to scale there, I mean to scale in Photoshop. If you haven't checked out Two-Fisted Manly Tales 2, that campaign, and backed it, do back that book. It's got beautiful stuff including one of the final works by the late, great Butch Geist, Jackson Geist, for all of you guys, whose work I was introduced to in a, I guess it was a limited series, if I'm not mistaken, Deathlock. And as funny as it is, you think about things you see when you're younger and how they impact you. I remember seeing that issue of Deathlock by him, and there was this line that Deathlock has, of course, before he becomes Deathlock, where he's in the kitchen, he kisses his wife, and his son is doing the dishes, and he says, "No wife of mine is going to be doing dishes in this house. That's what we had the kid for." And I never forgot that, because, I mean, I always did the dishes when I was growing up, so it wasn't shocking to me. But I used to say that to Mrs. Engetti, and that's just a small way in which, and one of the many ways comics impacted me and passed on that whiskey wisdom that comics can pass on sometimes. I got Graham to add an autographed catch-up tier if you want to get both books signed by Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon. Show them support, 100%. Yeah, guys, and as soon as you guys get that, pump the link in the chat if you're a mod. That would be fantastic. So, again, Two-Fisted Manly Tales issue 1, if you don't have it. There's a story by the great Dan Lawless, who is one of the finest artists and draftspeople that we have in ComicsGate, does incredible work. And in his story, he went around and he has a car in an establishing shot that has bumper stickers that are of various ComicsGate projects with their logos. And he put Nosfero the Cryptwalker on there. He reached out to me, goes, "Can I get the logo?" So that's just how this stuff works. And it's not... it's hard to explain. It's reciprocity, not transaction. That we try to do things to help one another when we can, and when you get to know people over a long period of time, and in my case, I've been around here since 2018. When you get to know people, it's just incredible how it works. It's just incredible how you get to know people and how that sort of all feeds together. Past Master Dan with the link there. Graham Nolan's Two-Fisted Manly Tales on Fund My Comic. Fund My Comic is another example. When Fund My Comic first launched, they had a sort of a rough logo in place, and I reworked a logo for them and helped them with the banner on their site. And if someone comes along and has got something even better, that's all the better. But just something to help out whenever you can, guys. You got to do that stuff. What's up, R.J. Williams? Actually, you don't have to do anything. But it's good to do it. It makes you feel good. And great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. So check out Graham Nolan's Two-Fisted Manly Tales. So for a shot like this, in terms of creating the environment, one of the things that I think about the most when I'm looking at this is how do I create environments and spaces that feel like those classic Universal monster movies and horror movies, even stuff that I love like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and the Wolfman, where you have the secret door that turns around, the secret door that rotates. You have the staircase that goes down to the water inside of Dracula's castle. That stuff is so cool. That stuff is so great. And so for this, I'm kind of doing a panel blend right there where you're going to see this ritual going on down here, which again, whenever I say ritual, I think of Art Bell's Ghost to Ghost and this really great story of a Border Patrol agent coming upon on the U.S. side of the border. I guess this would have been in maybe the 80s, I think. It was the story he was telling it from was the 80s. But it was on one of the Ghost to Ghosts of Art Bell. And he talked about coming upon this kind of, thing on just this side of this U.S. border of people holding some kind of ritual that was like Race with the Devil, he said it looked like. And they just bugged out. And I love that story. So that's the kind of Art Bell's America, H.P. Lovecraft's New England. That's the stuff I want to do in my stories, mixed with what I love about, the great comics I read, Todd McFarlane's Spawn and Spider-Man, and all of the cool stuff that attracted me to comics, that kind of dynamic storytelling. but the colorists of the time, Hammer horror films, it can't be just one note or it's not going to work. And so that's a big part of what I do when I'm coming up with my stuff, is I'm thinking I'm taking you guys on a roller coaster ride of action and adventure, and we're introducing here in ComicsGate, guys, if you have not backed this book, back it. Do not be kicking yourself later. Pay attention to which covers are the ones that are the rare covers, or back all three, get the big box, and then you'll be in good shape. We just crossed, speaking of great news, we just crossed 34,000 on that campaign, guys. So there is, we continue to grow, and we continue to make that book bigger and bigger and bigger. But this is the introduction of a new superhero character. This is the introduction of something that I think is going to stick. It's so hard to get, to create characters that just resonate with people. And Springball's been doing that for so long, and it's going to be great. Yeah, early supernatural, 100%. Yeah. Let me see here. Everybody seems like they're doing all right. Let me check. Okay, there we go. Boom. And thank you for dropping the link, past Master Dan. I appreciate it. So in the story, it is the thing about the city of Kingsport that I'm trying to remind myself all the time of, is I want to create environments that when you look at them, you know what they are. But I want the environments to have just as much character as the characters themselves have. That's an important part of what I'm doing. And so I don't want the environments to be placeholders. I don't want them to be buildings, and I want them to have a kind of physics to them. I want them to have that vibe where when you're in an environment in Springball, you immediately see how cool and wild it is, but it's not confusing. A spiral staircase, a hidden doorway, a hidden passage, and then the walls themselves are going to tell the story with ancient hieroglyphs you can't decipher. Things like that are a big part of Nosfero. They're a big part of Springball. And so that's an important part of what I do. And hail Simply Green, and welcome Simply Green on this fine Sunday. I hope you're doing well, my friend. So yeah, I mean, when I look at all of the stuff I have planned for Springball, it involves creating a certain immaculate reality, as Akira Kurosawa used to say. He used to talk about how in movies you want to create a world that has a texture, a believability, and as Shane and I would say, beautiful wood grain. The wood grain matters. And then you get something that's really cool, really special. And I just feel like the original comics, back in the golden era of comic books, not even the silver age of comic books, people were inventing subjects and things that were compelling. So I don't mean Tim Burton's, who's also a big influence on my stuff, Tim Burton's view of Gotham in terms of being creative. I'm thinking about Batman. The idea of creating a character, like starting from zero and saying, what can this thing be? What can this world be? And bringing something new to this American art form. Yeah, verisimilitude is a 100% perfect way of putting it. You see things that have beautiful aesthetics all the time, and if they don't have the character, if they don't have the good versus evil structure, then you lose a lot of energy on it. And I think that, when I'm working on Nosfero, I gotta adjust my chair because I keep, sorry for that close-up on my forehead there. I got to adjust my chair because I keep hitting my elbow on my desk and shaking things up. What is up, Billy Power Max? How are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday, and from the look of your icon, a little bit of romance too. Never hurt. So keep that going, because that's another thing that's important in comics. So when I look at the arc of this book, and I get the great thing about doing everything on my books outside of the exhaustion, is the fact that I get to look at my books and build them as I go in InDesign. So every time I do more work on a page and move pages around, the thing I'm doing is I go into InDesign and then I look at the story flow. It's almost like making a movie and then cutting as you shoot the film. You can start to get a sense of how the film is coming together, and everyone can get a sense of how it's coming together. And so that is really helpful. Really helpful. Hang on a second. Have you ever tried a drawing monitor? I feel bad you're using a trackpad. You can get a decent drawing. Everybody's so concerned about me, but I understand not wanting to mess with your mojo. Well, here's the thing about it, right? Um, the way that I work when I'm drawing, I always say I'm most dialed in when it's my hand, and then the brush, and then the thing surface I'm working on, right? And this may sound sort of strange, but there's what I love about digital is because I've used Wacom tablets before, so going way back, I've used all kinds of different things, and I've even drawn on an iPad Pro with a pencil. And you know what I think it is? Oh gosh, let me get to that, Cookie Lovecraft, because there's a lot of wow. That's a big question. Let me get back to that. So man, let me think about why I use the media, but it kind of ties into that as well. That question as well. So they say that too many options. That famous quote, "Too many options will make, or too many choices will make tyrants of us all." The more options and the more opportunities that you get in terms of media, the more I think it makes it harder to make decisions. So even a decision as small as decreasing the opacity on your brushes, if you don't know if you don't know how that affects you, you can run the risk of making all of your colors very chalky. The same thing is true in oil paint. Those two things are very analogous. So when I'm working, the trackpad is a way of keeping myself honest. I don't want to make it sound like this, but it's a little bit like Inigo Montoya in Princess Bride, where he goes, "I'll have to do him left-handed. It's the only way I can be satisfied. If I use my right, it's over too quickly." So it's a little bit like that, in the sense that it forces me to just have my hand, the trackpad, and the screen, and I can't get too flourishy and lose structure, because I can always make things more, as you saw from the other piece that I was showing at the start of the stream, there's no limit to where I can go with detail rendering and all of that stuff. And it's the limits that give me the freedom. It's the boundaries that give me the freedom. The limitation of the interface, the limitation of the media, that helps me to get the best work. And I don't know if I answered your question well or not, but that's what I was thinking. Sometimes I have ideas for a world setting and narrows down possible characters and plots. Other times the character is what I need for plot. Very true, and I want to get to that one. I used a Wacom for several years, and I'm more into the iPad, it turns out. I've heard a lot of people say that about that. Let me go back to this one right here. Okay, so all of my stories start differently. Some start with me taking notes and words. Some start with a painting or a sketch. Some start with a villain. Some start with a premise, but they come to me in pictures more so than anything else. So the that's a really good question. The character is just as big of a part. Like, I can't come up with the character if I don't have the. It's all interconnected, the story, and what I do then, once I have that kernel of an idea, is I look for, "What's up, Darren Wagner? How are you doing, man? It's good to see you." If I don't have that anchor that gets me excited, things don't move out from there. So I knew the character of Springball. I knew the type of story I wanted to tell, but I didn't know Kingsport when I first did it. And what I try to do is I try to look at a story as an opportunity to find balance between the elements, and to make sure that within the boundaries of making sure that the story is not being impacted negatively, I exploit the possibilities of every single one of those avenues. And the place that I found was the weakest in Springball in revisiting it was the environment. I think I didn't create the environment I wanted to create. I didn't have the sophistication back at the start of this that would offset the character, as opposed to be an environment where the character makes the most sense. It's the character, the environment that complements the character and increases the idiosyncrasy and also the flavor of it. So it's getting that flavor right, if that makes sense. Everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. Good to see. A character by necessity narrows down the possible world they fit within, but you go back and forth tweaking as each of the world plot and characters rub up against each other. Yeah, well, it's like you put Superman on Earth versus you put Superman in space, all of which we've done before. Superman in the city versus Superman in the farm. It's going to do different things with the character. And if you put Spider-Man in Gotham City, to me, then something really cool happens. And I mean Antoine First, Batman 1989, the first true representation. If you put, trying to think of an interesting version of it. If you put Batman in the jungle, it changes the whole nature of Batman and what you would do with the character. And some would probably say that Batman in the jungle is the Phantom, another really big influence. But that's the thing I see that's missing from a lot of the stuff we do, is we pick the same city, the same thing. I want to do a story where, Springball goes into a world or goes into a place like rural New England, like Dunwich and the Dunwich Horror, or, somewhere where he's in the woods trying to solve something. And what does that do? And what does that create? That's the stuff that, to me, is where the magic is. And creators we were playing with a lot more. There's the sequences where you see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in New York, but then you see the sequences that took place in Western Massachusetts, in Northampton. They even reference Northampton, which is where Mirage Studios is. Yeah, put the White Power Ranger in the hood. Well, funny enough, Black Riding Hood by John Malin. That's a really good example, come to think of it. Everybody's saying hey to Darren Wagner. Art Haida, you're absolutely right. What's up, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969? Great to see you. Yeah, I'm just picturing a Die Hard 3. Yeah, that's right. Shoop. Yeah, it's there's so much you can do with comics. And before we started to really iron out the convention of comics, we started we were playing with a much broader palette. So you put guns in Batman's hands, which is something that was a thing back in the day. But when you do that, it changes the aesthetic of the character. You take a character, I think McFarlane did this really well with Spawn. You take a character like Spawn and you have him, back when we were keeping real track of the power meter there, you give him weapons he's got to put on to save power. And he falls back on his, his training. That starts to create your brain just sort of goes to a different place, and I love that. I love doing things like that with a character, and so I'm looking for those opportunities all the time to advance what's possible with the character. And Springball is, there's so many things that I want to do with this character. Awesome. Drummer on Fire is saying, what's up, listening while I'm practicing? Yeah, got a lot of musicians in the house, and I've got a lot of musicians who watch the show and also make their own work. I'm doing a cyberpunk martial arts hero in farm community. There you go. Well, think about this for a second, right? If you've got a character, and this is something that I'm setting up and we're going to get into, but if you've got a character like Springball, who's got the strength of 10 men, has the ability to bounce, has the ability to, so he can bounce off of any, surface that he hits. He's got the ability to use this tail to anchor so that he can swing with it, right? Like he's got all of these different powers and abilities. My first thought, what's up, Noxie? How are you doing? Hi to you, and I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. All I could think of when I'm looking at the character of Springball and future fight scenes that I was staging them as I went, he needs to be kicking a villain's tail. I'm trying to get right, guys. He needs to be kicking a villain's tail and they get drug into water. Underwater. Deep underwater. Then he's just got the strength of 10 men. Then he's punching slower, and it's not as effective. Then he can't bounce. Then he can't really use his tail in terms of throwing it. He gets completely neutralized when you put him in that environment. He gets neutralized in space, and in both environments, he can't really die. So now what's he do? That's the stuff that you have to be always thinking about, what you can do with a character and what their limitations are. And once the audience understands the physics of the character, they get to that point to where they see him being put in a situation and they go, oh no. And that's the goal. An obvious one is the hostile post-apocalypse. When the environment becomes lethal frequently, that is going to impact a character heavily. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. In all seriousness, putting characters in an environment that challenges them can make for the sake of good storytelling. Think hard, traveling heroes done more competently. Yes, exactly right. Exactly right on that one. Yeah. And the thing about that, too, is when you expand it out from there, right? And you expand this kind of thing with characters, if you take a character and you put him out in the middle of a vast, wide-open plain, what the heck is he going to bounce against in that particular sense? Or, here's one. One of the most truly amazing, James Cameron's best movie, in my personal opinion. I've got to think real hard on this. Yeah, for me, James Cameron's best movie is The Abyss. It is such a great movie. Such an incredible movie. Some incredible performances. You want to talk about verisimilitude, you've got it with The Abyss. But there's a sequence when two characters are trapped in a situation, and I don't want to spoil it, and they have to make the hard call that one of them isn't going to make it and have to count on the other to revive them, which requires one of the most brutal, dramatic situations ever. So if I want to have... he has his own city, Tiny Effort. He operates in a fictional city of Kingsport, which I know is the name of a real city, and there's many things named Kingsport in New England and everywhere else. But his fictional Kingsport is his city. And it's a cross between Providence, the fictional city of Innsmouth, Metropolis, all these different things, but it's uniquely its own. It's unique to Springball because of time I spent when I was going to school in Providence, and we had these, they're really sealed off now, but we had these trolley tunnels that ran underneath College Hill to the other side, from the center of Providence to the east side of Providence. And I walked in those when they were abandoned. Shopping carts and things in there, water up to your knees. God knows what was floating in that water. And that kind of stuff is creepy. And the idea that a city or a town has abandoned places that haven't been explored. Bridges. There's a bridge that climbers have been going up and climbing that I think they're going to dismantle. But it was an old bridge that the trains used to go across from these tunnels, and it's been left permanently up because it doesn't go up and down, but it's not being used, but it's left permanently up, and people have been climbing it and hanging out there and putting graffiti on it for years, and it just makes an amazing literal cliffhanger scene. And there's so much around us. Why do all superheroes... hole buried tunnel network, Simply Green. You're absolutely right. Why does everybody write everything in the same city is the thing I think about sometimes. And I'm not saying that like, wow, I'm a genius. Why does everybody... No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is a big... Even if it's just this country, this is a big country. You know what I mean? I love the Fortress of Solitude for Superman. But can you imagine, and you could build a whole lore around this, that there was a fortress hidden somewhere in the Grand Canyon? I mean, you hear stories about that all the time, and the lore and the conspiracies and all that stuff surrounding the Grand Canyon. But just think about what we could do, guys. There's so much there. I could see 50 different people doing stories about just the Grand Canyon. It's incredible. Yellowstone. The freaking geysers that are there and all those wild, the caldera landscape. Like, we just don't use a lot of this stuff. And I think part of it is because that stuff lends itself to either digital or traditional painting. And I think drawing it could be cool, but that's why I like to do a combination of drawing and painting in my stuff. But there's so much we could do. Billy Power Max is saying, "What's up, Past Master Dan and Hale?" I'm going to explore everything I can till the wheels fall off, until I'm done and dusted. But let me see if I... Hold on one second. Let's see if I can find something. Since we do talk about books on this show. Let me see. Because I know I have some somewhere. Not just books, but... not there. Where the heck did I put that? Hang on a second. As I often say. If you hear an avalanche, don't worry, I'm okay. Where did I put that? That's going to be annoying. I'm sure it's here somewhere, he said. Man, I'm going to have to think on that because I can't find it right now. Is it near me? Whoa, sorry guys, bumping into the camera. Is it near me? And evening, Siege Perilous. How are you doing, my friend? So I'm going to have to... Sorry, camera got out of focus there. We focusing? And we're trying. And... Okay, I'm going to have to figure that out. 1 second here. I don't have that set for manual focus, do I? I bet I do. Oh, am I? Yeah, I had that for manual focus. That's why it was a problem. Is digital better than traditional drawing comics? Depends on who's doing it, but no, not as a rule. I mean, look at what Ethan's doing with CyberFrog. That stuff is beautiful. Look at what David Finch is doing. It's all just a different tool. Like when I do... I thought of a great joke. A great self-diss for myself. But you guys can put it together. You guys are sharp. It's just all about what you're trying to do and what's the best tool for the job. I mean, when I'm doing Nosfero, it feels right to paint it. That's how I'm supposed to do it. And when I'm, what's up, Mechanoid? How are you doing? It's great to see you, man. But I was thinking about how in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when they got chased out of New York by the return of the Shredder. Gosh, I know I've got that book somewhere. This is going to haunt me, man. But by the return of the Shredder, they retreated to Northampton, which is where they lived, and they did this overhead shot. And if you've ever been to Northampton, Massachusetts, where Mirage Studios was and where I think Peter Laird still lives, they drew, it was an observational drawing of downtown Northampton. And even though Northampton's changed in the last 10 or 15 years, it was pretty much the same up until recently. So you can actually go to the town where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles retreat for like a couple of issues there. And it's awesome. What's up, Shadowhawk Talks? How are you doing, man? Hope you're having a great morning. Super chat just came in too. Let me catch up and I'm going to get to that. Hail Shanth in chat, and thank you everyone who participated in the auctions yesterday. Oh, that's right. And I hope that went well. How did it go, everybody? I swear I've been just running around. Yes. Oh, that's great. And super chat from Baldo user saying, want a horror story? Beings that live in the U.S.A. Oh my gosh, are responsible for most of the missing 411 cases. There you have a multi-issue comic. Yes, so both the issues of, and let me play some cheerleaders too, by the way, and thank you for that $5 super chat, much appreciated. Let me get you some cheerleaders. We must have cheerleaders forthwith. Charge! Charge! I do need to get hooked on phonics. It's very true. Thank you so much for that. So yes, I remember, I guess it was like about 5 or 6 months ago, I was listening to Art Bell, the Missing 411 thing, all of that stuff, and it is actually terrifying when you look into this. There was a story, and Y-Files, of course, and AJ are really, and Joe Rogan, for that matter, too, have picked up the baton on all of this stuff, and just in terms of talking it and putting it out there, and also getting more people to listen to classic Art Bell and the late Art Bell's radio shows. It's been incredible to watch. And just when you hear stories about people, there was one of the ones that AJ posted for his campfire stories about a guy who was, I mean, this is every parent's nightmare, but a kid who was a kid, somebody's child in my opinion, but who was 21 or 22 years old, I think, who was on the phone with his dad. He was lost. He didn't know where he was. It turns out he was 35 miles away from where he thought he was. And as he's talking to his phone, talking with his dad on the phone, he goes, "Wait, I see some lights coming up there." And then he says, "Oh, expletive." And the phone goes dead, disappeared without a trace. They were able to figure out where he was from pinging the phone, or finally figuring out something. I forget exactly where. They found his car or something. And we don't know what happened to this guy. There's no evidence of anything. And you just think, yes, thank you. There is the GoFundMe right there, guys. Go check it out. And if you have the means on this fine Sunday, share it out, but make a donation to help out, because we've got some really great folks here, and it's one of my favorite things about ComicsGate is just the support. And we all run into things, and sometimes we're taking care of a parent, and we've got, we're spinning a lot of plates. I know that I always try to go out of my way to help people and do something if I've got somebody around me who could use something, or a pick me up. And it's important stuff to do. It's really important stuff to do. And it's just, I don't know, it'll make you feel much better. Yeah, I heard that before. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, the time trap, all of that stuff. And I feel like a lot of it is, you know what I'm talking about, Mark. You know what I'm talking about. But the cave systems that are down there in Florida, the underwater cave systems that Rico Browning talked about exploring, that go down miles. You hear divers talk about this stuff, and I just go, the more that the fantasy gets enriched from knowing how strange this universe is, how strange this world is, how many things we still don't know. Hope you're healing well. There you go. Thanks. Anything you can do, my family and I appreciate it more than I can express. Oh, well, that's great, Shadowhawk Talks. And I know, we know that. We all know that. I can't say it any fairer than that. Wishing you guys very, very well. And wishing the GoFundMe very, very well, too. Important stuff. There are completely scientific principles we just don't understand yet. Yeah, we always... I remember hearing George Lucas say this about when someone asked him if he believed in God or not, and he goes, yes, but what I think I know about that God or whatever, I'm not very sure. He goes, the only thing I know about the history of civilization is that we have always thought that we've known everything in every single time that we're in. We've always thought that we knew most of it. We knew 90-something% of it or more. And he goes, and the cavemen were at about a 1. And we're on a scale at about a 7. And what nobody seems to realize is the scale goes to 1,000,000. And I went, that is pretty amazing. Oh, man. So far, so good. Still hurts quite a bit. I see the doc again tomorrow, so I'll have an update in the afternoon. Well, mend well, my friend. Mend well. The deep sea humanoids freaking out, oil rig. Yeah, you hear a lot of that stuff. And, of course, the Arctic and all of the various places where, we don't do so hot. Deep sea, ocean, all of it. So when I'm working on Springball, the biggest thing, and the same thing goes with painting, the same thing goes with traditional drawing. Whenever I'm working on this character, the biggest thing is not to lose the cartooned aspect of it. Not to lose the aspects of it that are, where the real, energy and the charm of the character kind of comes in, and the life in the drawing is a big thing. And a lot of times you'll see me, I'm doing stuff and I'm just brainstorming. Nothing is finalized yet. And I just go, okay, I do this, and then what's that do? And how is that going to work within the world that I'm creating? And so a lot of it is just kind of finding the mood. And I might take this character and change, warp it, adjust various things. But in that way, it's a great combination of sculpture and painting when I work. And I always say, try not to draw faster than, well, let me rephrase that. Try to be present at every moment you're drawing and painting. Try not to ever do anything, if you can avoid it, on autopilot. There's different than muscle memory. When you're using your muscle memory and you've drawn things a million times, it's actually a big part of gaining mastery is that you're not having to think every single thing out, whether it's perspective or anything else. But I try to stay as dialed in as I possibly can when I'm working and try to think about how I can, give somebody a little bit more in every panel. And when I look at the stuff that my artist heroes, created in the late Sam Keith, who we talked about last Sunday, you just got this sense that he was not leaving any stone unturned. He was really exploring, well, what can I do with this? Dale Keown, you always get a sense when you look at Dale Keown's work that he's 100% switched on and he's in the zone when he's working. And I saw this with, for those of you guys who haven't got it yet, the John Malin'S Springball cover, which is a work of art and is beautiful. And of course, the cover he did for Joe Sontag. So if you haven't signed up for Joe's campaign yet, do check that out. But it's just breathtaking work when John does a cover, and he's always dialed in and he's always pushing himself as hard as he can. He did a great cover that he showed for, I believe he showed for, and my brain is gone. What was the cover for? It's gone. It'll come to me. Hang on a second. Just realized I had to restart the background video. I think passive horrors are a missed opportunity. Not stories about being chased by surreal creatures, but just encounters strange beings and phenomenon. And disinterested in us. We are insects. Absolutely right. Michelle Bowers is in the house. Where are you, Michelle? There you are. Welcome, Michelle Bowers. Great to see you. Welcome, Draw Zombie. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I just realized my camera's all catty-wampered, as we say. Let me see here. There's a dark cartoon aspect to it. Not Spawn miniseries, more Batman Beyond or some of that Spider-Man stuff. Absolutely. And okay, I've got another super chat. You're a repeat offender. The Bible, the Book of Enoch, yes, and tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. And Jasher did I pronounce that right? Talks about beings hiding in caves and demons hiding in the sea. It even talks about the origin of mermaids. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff out there that I always think that if you go to where, and I think about this when I stream, the more you find yourself having interesting conversations with people about these topics, the better it is. And so hang on, I want to give you some cheerleaders, and I want to continue that thought. Charge! Charge! And thank you, Baldo User. I appreciate it, man. So this is the thing that got me. So I have a friend, a good friend who's a musician playing guitar. He's composing his own music. He's doing all this great stuff. He's got a commission, which I was working on this morning. He's commissioned me to do something for a pick guard, and it's funny, the more that we've talked about it, and as we've talked about his music, but also his life and what's going on in his life, the more the piece has evolved and had to evolve and be rethought, because just because there's something about when you do a commission for someone, you get to know them, and it's hard to describe, but it's a very it shouldn't be a cold, dead mechanistic process. It's just that's not the way I like to do things. And good, you guys can actually see the room and see the trailer and see my friend over here. Thank you, Cursed Art Creations. And so I sent him a YouTube video of a British composer named Nathan Swanee, who's done movie soundtracks. He's done all sorts of different kinds of things, where he talks about the implementation and use and study of Vedic mathematics in his song structures. Now, I didn't even know something like Vedic mathematics existed, but he talks about the system of how in traditional, I guess, Indian music, there are these particular sounds that people make, and then they use something almost like dynamic symmetry and the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence of numbers to create harmony and rhythm. And my brain is just melting, and I'm not a musician, but it definitely gets me thinking to hear somebody talk about this stuff. So I passed it along, much like when we were talking about, and you're welcome, Cursed Art Creations, hard to avoid the conflict hard to avoid the conflict through as it drives stories forward more. Yes, you're absolutely right, 100%. And so again, it's if I can find an opportunity to, feed my brain on stuff that isn't junk food, I'm better off. The band Tool does that a lot. Yeah, the band Tool. Yes, I actually saw them live at Lollapalooza 93, I think it was. Whichever one they were at. And I saw them here because I was visiting Rhode Island from Tennessee. Yeah, the universe is an interesting place. I saw them, and I was there to see Alice in Chains, one of my favorite bands. So yeah, a lot of groups do that stuff. You see a lot of really highly skilled musicians. Let me see here. Do you mean, do I use Copics? I don't. They're great. I love people who use them. I think that stuff looks really cool when people are great at it. But to me, I immediately go over into wanting to paint as soon as I start using Copics. They're fantastic. Unless you mean just for black line work, because then I'm using what's it called? The Tombow brush pens, which brings me, funny enough, back to something we were talking about. So I was visiting my wife at work, and I had the chance to meet one of the art students, and I had ordered on Amazon a huge pack of Tombow brush pens. I thought I was ordering, I think, 5, and I accidentally ordered 30. One of those things that can happen sometimes on Amazon. So I, just would bring a new pack with me when I would go out, just to have, if I couldn't, just to make sure I had every kind of brush pen. And I saw this student doing really great cross contour work and all of that stuff, and I had a pack of 3 different Tombow pens. And I said, hey, listen, I see what you're doing. I see what you're working on. You should try these pens out. Here, you can have this pack. I have extra packs of this. And just just how grateful people are. I remember people doing that kind of stuff for me, and still do that kind of stuff for me, which I appreciate. And just pay that stuff forward. It's amazing how that can impact people. It's amazing. And it's one of the best parts about being a human being is those relationships and the people that you meet and the people who who make Springball possible and make Nosfero possible. All of you channel members, it's never lost on me when I'm doing the credits and I see the all the names of you guys who are channel members. That's why those credits are so important to me, is because it's my way of saying thank you. I look at that's true, actually. I don't know if you guys have ever seen me use a pen or a pencil. I should show you some of my weapons of choice when I get a chance, when it comes to that kind of thing. Because I actually love to use, for my pen, or pencil, I often like to use when I'm drawing. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Let me find the interface of this stuff. There we are. Oh my gosh. I've got the window open and I look orange. So let me. It's like Let me see here. Let's see if we can blue me up a little bit there. There we go. A little less. No, not that. That's kind of terrifying. A little bit more blue, so it's a little bit more true to life, and I look a little bit more ghastly, I think. So this is the aspect of that. Let me go to here. Main. All right, cool. So I want to show you guys the old toolbox here. So this is a template for the guitar piece that I'm working on right here. So I've done it on illustration board. I've done it digital, trying to figure things out. And now I know I'm going to draw this thing. Absolutely know I'm going to draw this thing. And so my favorite pencils that I usually use if I'm on white or tan paper are these. Crayola Twistables, black and white. Love using these. There's a couple of reasons why I like using these. I like using these. Take care, Shadowhawk. Have a great day, my friend. A wonderful Sunday. And Godspeed on your recovery. And rest up and heal, my friend. And what is up, Mikey's Madness? Welcome. I hope you are doing well. So let me show you what I mean. So here's why these pencils are great. These pencils are great because you can erase with them. You don't have to worry about sharpening them. And they have a nice edge on them, if you can see. So they're... the lead on them is enough to where if you work on it and you shave it down, you can get sharp edges. And I want to show you guys what I've been thinking about with this piece right here. So one of the things I've been really wanting to do when I was looking at this is I want to play around with the idea of using this curve that cuts into this piece. And look at this. Run your hand over it. It doesn't smear. And if you need to erase it, and I'm lightly erasing it, it erases like a dream. It's just a great way of working. And I just came upon this a couple of years ago. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to play around with the idea of this particular shape I have on this pick guard. This came to me the other day when I was out hiking with Mrs. Ingetti in Lovecraft Country, which is another thing I've got to do. But I spent a lot of time thinking about it, a lot of time thinking about my friend, and I started saying, okay, this is where it starts to turn into something. This is where I want this to start going. I want a very nice hand-carved aspect of it. And then I started seeing, and this is just to give you guys a sense of the sketch process of this. I'm like going, oh, this would be great. And I was like, how do I put this thing together? And I remembered that when you see traditional monograms, the way that the traditional monograms work, for those of you guys who know this kind of thing, is that you have the first name goes here of the person. The middle name goes here, which was very confusing to me when I was learning about this at first. So the middle name goes here, and then in the middle is where you typically put the last initial, and you make it oversized, which is such a interesting aesthetic I wouldn't have thought about. Now, there's going to be a lot more drawing that goes on in this. But the big thing I would say to watch whenever you see me drawing or doing anything, like this, is I'm not holding the pencil tight. I'm not white knuckling it. Everything I'm doing is I'm moving the brush around, and I'm moving the paintbrush around or the pencil around, and I'm just letting that thing flow. Now, what I want to do is I don't want this to be I don't want this to be a flat space. I want to make this a dimensional space by how I change the surface. What's up, Zayd Studios? How are you doing? Hail to you, brother, and hail. Oh my gosh, is it Thrun? Is that how I pronounce it? I hope I'm not butchering your name. Everybody's saying hello. It's great to see you guys. Welcome to Comics and Curios inside the studio. Grab a seat, sit down, stay a while. This is how we work. And so I've got several different sketches of where I want to go with this. But this one, there's something about this idea that I know I want to explore. And there's something about it in terms of I see wings that I want to do in here. Like this is all kind of connected to how I start to think about the space and how I work when I'm drawing. And so for me, the big aspect of this stuff is, if I'm doing a drawing like this, is thinking about, let's see what I've got here. Thinking about, as I draw, thinking about, where is my, is this a Tombow here? Let's do this. As Bob Ross would say, let's have some fun. That's important to have. See which side of this is clearer. On my desk, you never know. So let me move this here. Move this camera a little bit here. And let me show you how I think about this stuff. Oh, I want to use something. Where's my brush pen? Do I have a brush pen around here? Because I know I do. It's just a question of where it is. I can use this one as well. Because I definitely want to do some... I'm going to draw... there it is. I definitely want to do some hatching, but I don't know if this will work. Yeah, Happy Trees is the key, man. Oh, shoot, I haven't even used this. Look, I haven't even used this one yet. That's wild. Does it even have an ink cartridge in it? Huh. That's new. That's a new one on me. Of all the brush pens that in all the world, and of all the gin joints. You see here. So that one is not primed yet. Hang on a second. See if I can get this one going. I hope there's an ink cartridge in it, because I think there is. Let me double check. If there isn't, that would be egg on my face. That's egg on my face. Hang on a second. All right. Where do I have a working brush pen? Otherwise, I'm just going to go back to the Tombow, because I can't believe I don't have a brush pen loaded and ready to go. That's a trip. Not there. All right. We'll wing it, as they say. We'll wing it, as they say. All right. So, yeah, back to art lessons. So, when I'm doing an illustration of a character and I'm drawing, I don't do a tremendous amount of penciling. It's kind of the painter in me that approaches things. Now I got to figure out where to put this thing so that you guys can see with the tape, so that you guys can see what I'm doing and I can see what I'm doing. There we go. God knows what the view is like from up there, but we'll see. And I can hold it at an angle so it's like I draw. So what I typically do when I'm drawing, if I'm not using, I'll learn this pen here, is you can see the way I'm working. Hand loose. Oh, that's interesting. Gotta see, I want to see how much ink I have in the brush. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's always good when a brush pen isn't giving out too much ink, when it's been through it a little bit. There we go. Now what you're going to see here when I'm working is a little bit about what you'll see. I want something sharper though. I don't want something. Where's the other one I had? Yeah, I may have to soldier on with this one, but I just want to see, because I know I have a working brush pen somewhere. King Kong just went down. Sorry, King Kong. You're gonna be okay. Hold on a minute. Huh. Alright, well, I'm going to have to wing it with this one for now. But I wanted to be able to feather a little bit better. So here we go. Although there's something nice about the blunt aspect of that. Oh, when I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. What can I do? Oh, my stars. I love doing those little hatches where it just sort of fades. Do you see what I mean? Where you just get to sort of play around with this kind of stuff. That's to me is where the fun is. And all of the stuff I'm doing, when you see me working, I gotta move the camera closer for you guys. I'm sorry if this is tricky to see. There we go. The one great thing about this is get to rotate it a little bit so you guys can see how I'm working. There we go. That's what I want. I have no idea what I'm drawing, just so you know. Don't panic. Yeah, if you're not having a good... I mean, seriously, guys, working hard and having a good time at the same time is really the trick. Because it's the same thing when you see people and you see somebody boxing. And you don't want to be having such a good time that you're not paying attention. But you don't want to be so tense that you're not in the flow state. And that's the real trick, is to be in that flow state. And you know, that gets really... Like, it's really tricky when, you know, you have to think and be creative on demand. That's the real trick. So one of the things I think we all kind of work on, who've been doing this for a long time, is we all sort of get good at getting ourselves in the chair and whatever mood we were in when we sat down. We get into a better mood. What's the nib size on that? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. So this is the... oh, sorry. Off camera. Where am I? There we go. This is the Fudenosuke Tombow Artist Brush Pen. And you can get these just about anywhere, but they're a really great standard pen. And I guess they're for manga or, you know, any kind of comic book artwork. But it's really, really good stuff. And I use this one, and you can get them, like this is, I think I'm using, because I can feel the resistance it's giving me, I think I'm using the harder tip, but let me see if I have, do I have another one here? This might be a softer tip. Let's play around with that. Let's see where that goes. Yeah, it's a great pen, Hidden Hand Media. It's a great pen. Oh, I missed a comment here. You didn't have to start using one, Shanth, but thank you. Yeah, well, you know. One of the things about Comics and Curios inside the studio, what's up, Mike Wilson? How are you doing? It's great to have you here, my friend. More artists in the house. So here's the thing about Comics and Curios inside the studio. And the stuff I try to do. A lot of this is driven by the serendipity of us all being here together on Sunday. So I like the idea of someone will bring something up and a book I wouldn't have think to have shown comes up. And, oh, this is interesting. This brush is doing something really interesting. Or this pen is doing something really interesting. So this is another one in that 3-brush set. Oh, look at that. Oh, what else have we got? Oh, man. What are you going to do? I have fun with this stuff. I can't hide it. Oh, and that one is a much more... it's like a gray. Is it a gray? Oh, that's cool. Nice. I think I've used this one in a while, so I forgot about that. So I've got the option of varying value. Cool. So, oh, that's nice. I like that. Whatever that is. But I can start playing around with the brushstroke. You have to, all right, go work out, my friend, and it's great seeing you. Have a great rest of your day, my friend. Hail Billy and Mark too. Sorry, just noticed yours. There you go. Yeah, you get a lot of flexibility with that. You're absolutely right, Leighton, and that's the thing about it, is that you've got, like, there's so many options, and you get so much room to move, depending on what the tool is and what the surface is. And the big thing is the muscle memory, because if you practice on that, then you're going to have that ability to kind of get the lines that you want, and then only think about what you're trying to illustrate, what you're trying to show, but then the energy that's also in it. So right here, when I was doing those lines before, that brush pen was a little bit drier, and as a result, it wasn't giving me a really nice taper. It was kind of breaking up as I moved it off. And here I'm getting a totally different kind of mark, a totally different kind of vibe to how I'm putting it together. And I love that the possibilities of this pen are great. It's the same thing with heavy body acrylics or anything else I use. I can do so many fun things with it. I can get a really good point. I want to see how faint I can go with this. That's small. That's not faint. Oh, wow. That's cool. Let me see if I can actually see it better here on the camera. Look at that. That's a trip. There we go. Nice. Oh, that's cool. There we go. Again, loose on the... I'm not holding it too tight, so make sure you're careful with that. See, a lot of people just destroying their hands for future use, and I know that a lot of us have had our fun with carpal tunnel. You know who I'm talking about, my man in the chat, and all of the stuff that, we can be so hard on ourselves in terms of physically that we've got to kind of make sure that we don't get to the point where, see how many cracks I can get if I can get any. Nope. Must have popped it well this morning. But yeah, we can kind of wear ourselves down with this stuff. So here we go. Thinking about there. Oh, look at that. Look at how nice that is in terms of like how it's what it's allowing us to do. That's a really nice pen. In terms of and see again, you were talking about what I was talking before. Mikey Madison was like, I've never seen you draw before. And granted, if it was something more complicated or if I wasn't just playing around, I would probably be doing, I might do a pencil sketch or a pencil drawing depending on how much I needed. But that's what makes these streams, what they are. That's what makes this stuff fun to do, is that you never know where it's going to go. And I did not know that I was going to be doing this when I started the stream, and it makes it a better experience, I think, for you guys if, we kind of have just this surprise as we go, that there's the unexpected, the theater of the unexpected, as they say. Oh, that's kind of fun. Oh, wow. That's a trip. I'm trying to have my eyes focused through a ring light that's right here, so it's kind of funny. I'm trying to force my eyes not to focus on the object in the foreground that I'm looking through. Yeah, and so you can do some really nice stuff. I'm still using the same point I've been using, but you can do some really nice, get some really rich dark areas. And, oops, sorry, I'm not holding frame. But look at how dark that is. That's a really nice bit of ink right there. Got really good coating power. That's really cool. Oh, there you go. That's just going to have to be a werewolf at some point, isn't it? I mean, yeah, but that's what I love. Hail Billy and Mark, you too. Sorry, blah blah. No steers good. Past Master Dan. Oh my God, I fell behind on the chat. Hail Henry. Yeah. So this is the thing. Apex Comics. I like to see ComicsGate books as floppies and the spinner racks at coffee shops, convenience stores. Yeah, I would too. Absolutely. Hi, Sean. Indeed. Hail Apex Comics. How are you doing, man? Everybody's saying hello, hello. Oh my God, I'm so far behind. Jeremy Burtz is saying hello. Good to see you. Is that an eagle's eye? Do not know. Not even God knows what I'm drawing. Michelle Bowers, I felt so far behind. Man, everybody is saying hello. Cranberry Lancers, OG channel member. Thank you for being here. It is great to see you, my man. And I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. So, yeah, so when I'm drawing, right, my whole aspect of where it works, and I should have probably shown you guys a little bit of how I think in terms of pencil, but, you know, it's the dyslexia. I blame myself here. So, let me just mess around here and show you guys how I rough things in. Now, again, look at how loose I'm thinking about this stuff. Oh, this is going to be so fun, man. Just, guys, don't you just love just seeing what happens? I mean, look at this. I'm not even trying to put... Like, because that's what I'm trying not to put my ink out of a job. Do you get what I mean? I'm trying not to put my ink out of a job. Is that there's something, and I'm trying not to have my pencil just be purely a poor man's ink, so to speak. Like it's my, like I'm not using it to do anything different than what my ink is going to do. And that's one of those things to where there's always so many possibilities. Do you guys see what I mean? Like, it's loose. This is all loose in my, like, when I'm drawing this. It's like I'm not holding it so tight that it's losing its soul, man. Oh, look, yeah, see? See what I mean? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's cool. That presents opportunities. Oh, look at that, guys. See what I'm saying? Oh, what if the pencil... It's so loose. Like, the pencil's doing that stuff, man. Just let it behave, man, how it's going to behave. You know, let it just find what it's going to do, you know? Let it find doesn't have to be so controlled. look, I mean, like, where can we go? You know, like, oh my God, yeah, Lord, nerds. I'm a nerd. That's how it works. It's so I need you guys to know this. Like when I talk about all this crazy stuff that I'm doing, right? All right, give you an example of what I mean. So whether I'm working on this, I'm working on this. It's the same attitude, right? Here's art book 1, which Mark's Music Obsession will have soon. Here's art book 2, right? So this right here is the painting I started to work on for Mark's Music Obsession of the creature from the Black Lagoon. You guys have seen this before. And the more I looked at it and the more I messed with the surface, the more I went, I love it. I love where it's going, but I need to do it on a more serious surface. And so I've cut down a board yesterday, and that's going to be, you know, Mark, I'm going to be exploring the painting on 2 surfaces now. And I promise you, when I get it together, whichever one ends up being the finish, I'm going to send you both. Sound good, Mark? Does it sound good? So I'm going to make sure you get both of those. Because Mark backed at the head painting tier, head sketch tier. It's so funny, but if I can just, like, when you guys back heavy on this stuff, I'm always thinking about what I can do, I want to give you guys a work of art that is going to be something that is in the body of work that I've been creating throughout my entire life. So there's going to be, love you too, brother. Thank you dude, your support has been huge, and it's been great to get to know you and share in all of the craziness and ups and downs and experiences that we both have experienced through all this stuff, through just the time. And I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your support big time. And thank you. Thank you for being a channel member and everything else. So as I'm working on this stuff and I'm exploring like where it can go, it's funny enough. It's like those little, make sure it's those little marks and things that happen that allow us to create that energy in it. Do you guys see what I'm doing? And it's like, what's up? Oh, Dan, how are you doing, man? So great to see you in the chat, brother. I hope you're well, man. Every time I crack open a Tim Vigil book or something, I always think of you, because I know you're also a big fan of Tim Vigil stuff. What a dude, man. He does some amazing stuff. So, like, when you see me doing some of those marks that I do, you see me trying to figure out, like, oh, like, how do I, like, what does this mean? You know, like, what is this, what's the potential here? And the potential is the serendipity. The potential is the chance that comes out of all of this stuff. And chance encounters, feeling like you're being helped by hidden hands. All of that stuff it's the secret sauce. It's where the gold is. Sometimes I have a conversation with somebody, and I talk about this a lot with my kids, and Mrs. Angetti and I talk about this a lot, is that sometimes it's those chance encounters that you have with people where you realize you both were looking for an answer that the other one had, and you didn't know. You didn't know that was a thing, that was a possibility. And I started watching Ethan and his streams because I was coming home off of a very long commute where I was working as an associate professor in an illustration department and doing all of this stuff. And it was basically me hanging out with a fellow Star Wars fan who's about the same age as me, and him talking about stuff that I was seeing. And I had no thought of, coming back to doing what I was doing in comics. I was doing illustration, concept art, all of that sort of stuff. Never in a million years would have thought that all of the crazy arrows pointing in this direction, whether it's Dan Lawless and I living around the corner from each other and not knowing it when I was like a kid. I was probably in kindergarten or first and second grade. All of these wild things. Andy Smith was going to be here, a guy who did the cover on my first professional comic book job. Do you see how these marks, if you guys probably can see this, this is what you're seeing when you see me do Springball stuff. There's no difference in terms of these little openings I'm leaving for color, for the eye to rest. That's the biggest part of my style, is thinking about those moments that can occur. So when you look at, I don't know if anything I'm saying makes sense or it just sounds insane. I'll take either. I don't know if that's gonna. I'm trying to find a way to show it to you guys without, if that makes sense. All right, let's take a look at this Godzilla painting from 2018. Wow, gosh, that's going back a ways. If you look at this, look at this. Like when I'm doing something like this Jet Jaguar Godzilla piece, do you see how I'm leaving those kind of openings in those shapes where the detail breaks to let it fill with a highlight or let it fill with a rich color? Do you see what I mean? That's a part of what I do, and where that happens or where that happens, that interplay is what makes Springball and Nosfero. What's up, Christopher Bouchard? How are you doing, man? It's great to see you. But, 2018, I was a kid back then. I was a kid. No. So you guys can see how all of this stuff, look at that orange that happens in there, where that area, the detail vanishes, and then you get that sort of powerful color note before you go over it with a darker color in detail. And it's the same thing with Nosfero. Same thing. See if I can find another example. Oh, perfect. Right there. There's tons of examples of it. Where the body of the werewolf fades out. What's up, Spaceman? How are you doing, brother? Happy Sunday, man. I hope you're doing well. Let me say some hellos here. Let me see. Siege Perilous giving a hearty yup. Chris Bouchard is there. It's good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Yes, follow Dan Plagle on X/Twitter. That's what it's all about. Yeah, you can see plenty of marks on screen. That's important, especially Mark's Music Obsession. There's a mark for you right there. And what's up, Grey Wolf Graphics? So you can see Eric Weathers' awesome lettering, and then you can see kind of like where things break, where things open up and become more playful. All of this is the stuff that makes whatever people want to call, or whatever is known as style happen. It's the way that you put those things together. And so when you see me doing this, the areas that are open are part of it, but this is where the play happens. This is where we kind of this is where it happens. That's the magic, man. That's the stuff I can't explain. That's the serendipity of it all. I think sometimes like the hardest thing is to fight the sort of cliches of response that come from structure. And the more you get good at structure, and the more you get a better sense of structure, the more you go on autopilot and fill things in. And being an autopilot and just filling things in is the enemy of style. And being afraid if something doesn't look perfect is exactly the difference between what I love about, say, somebody like and I'm not going to compare anybody to like this versus this. I just want to use a really positive example, is what Bernie Wrightson does in his Frankenstein book. All of the stuff that he gets accurate and that he does well is the stuff that people have an easy, or sorry, all the stuff that he does correct is the stuff that everybody has who gets to a certain level of skill understands. The stuff where he cartoons and if you know, where it's not, quote, correct, it's Bernie. And that's what makes Bernie Wrightson Bernie Wrightson. That's what makes him great, is where he lets it go. He draws cartoony faces and crazy playful stuff, or insane hands and things like that show the magic of Bernie Wrightson stuff and his sense of play. And it's the same thing when I look at McFarlane stuff, or I look at anybody. It's that whatever. It's a strange thing to me that we've got a lot of people who feel like they can play more effectively in digital than they can in traditional. And what I would argue is, if you learn how to play in traditional media, then you're going to be way more fearless. And guys, if you haven't hit the like on this, do hit the like. I know we got people watching on X and YouTube, 102 people watching. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. But the thing about this stuff is that sense of bravery that you have with traditional media will make you insane when you're doing digital. Like, if you're gonna go this crazy when you're doing traditional, what's gonna happen when somebody gives me digital? I'm gonna go nuts, and I'm also there's gonna be economy in my insanity. So I'm not going to need to have my brush set on an opacity of 3 and slowly build up the color theory. I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to put the brush on 100% opacity or 20% opacity, move a color over another color, then eyedropper it, go to 100% opacity, and use a color. I don't even know what the color is, but it works. You know what I mean? Yeah, can a brother get a like up in this? Mm-hmm. You know it's true, Leighton. You know it's true. Oh, look what happened there. Look what happened there. We've got these hatches going in different directions in a way, and so it's almost like a soft turning edge, and then a cast shadow, but it breaks, so there might be room in there for something. Don't know what it is, but if I leave it open, it's crazy. What's up, Glass Machine? Happy Palm Sunday, everyone. Amen. And great to see you here, Glass Machine. I hope you're doing well. But that's so cool. By the way, again, let's talk about serendipity. Do you see these pencil lines and how crazy all this stuff is? And how loose that stuff is? It answers, and Grey Wolf, I feel like I have not said a proper hello to you, even though I want to. Grey Wolf Graphics, everybody. Say your hellos. It's important. It's important. But I want to go back to Mikey's Madness real quick. When you said, hey, I just was saying, like, I've never seen you draw. What would that be like? And, oh, man, I didn't mean for you to suddenly start drawing. That's the serendipity. These pencil lines are that. These pencil lines are, I don't know where this stream is going. Guys, all I know before I start a stream is I can't come up with a thumbnail. I have to update the channel member credits, so become a channel member so you can see your name in the credits, guys. And I'm like, I've got books, I've got studio, and I've got you guys, and I've got me. That's all we need. And then we're gonna go. And that's it. And it's the happenstance that is what is fascinating to me. It's and it's nerve-wracking to hit, schedule a stream and then hit go live. But the better you get at it, the more you can play. I mean, I don't even know what half this stuff is. What's up, Darth Gutierrez? How are you doing? Happy Sunday, man. I hope it's going well for you indeed. Happy Palm Sunday, Cranberry Landers, and all of you fine folks. Let's see. Yeah, don't forget to hit that like, y'all. It's important. I did. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You guys have already moved it from like 38 to 47. Look at you guys go. And yeah, YouTube has been burying streams. But then, I got to be honest with you. Um, it's, I never know how it's working and if there's something I'm missing. But sometimes it's one of those things I think I've got to look at, more and figure out how exactly, if there's something I'm doing that could help get stuff out there more. But just look at the wildness of the shapes. Oh, thank you so much, Darth. I appreciate it, man. Great to see you. Why did I not know Shanth has his own channel? I can tell you, Cry for Dawn, the reason anyone doesn't know I don't have my own channel is 100% rests on my shoulders. That's definitely my responsibility, and sometimes I forget to tell people to post a link to my channel and even talk about what I do here, but I'm working on it. Thank you for subbing, Cry for Dawn. Much appreciated. Pleasure to have you here in my neck of the woods, and of course, I'll see you everywhere else you see me. But it's great to have you with us. So yeah, so there's this thing that happens, and the brushes or the pen or whatever. It's the pencil that's kind of reminding the pen to be fearless and not to worry. And I don't know if that makes any sense. Listen, you guys know I love Bob Ross. Bob was the man. And I remember saying to somebody, hang on, I'll blow my nose here. Allergies. I remember somebody saying saying to my students that when I draw, it's almost impossible, or paint or do a demo or anything I was doing when I was teaching, it's almost impossible not to go into Bob Ross mode, because Bob was right. Bob was right. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's kind of turning into a werewolf at the moment, as most things do. Yeah, from deep in the heart of Lovecraft country, guys. Yeah, sense cannot be made. It must be sensed. 100% Bruce Campbell's chin. Guys, if I started thinking about the improbability of all of it, I mean, it's so amazing, and it's all such a miracle. It's all such a miracle when I look at it, I remember I used to always tell this story and tell people about it, which is, it's my little personal myth. I remember telling my son this, and he was like, whoa, is that I have this reoccurring myth I tell myself about if I met the devil at the crossroads, and when my wife was pregnant, and the devil said to me, gave me a choice and said, hey, you can pick whether your wife is pregnant with a boy or with a girl. And hypothetically, if we had a preference, which I never have even thought about, I was like, mom healthy, baby healthy, please Lord, is all I was thinking about. And I thought, a sucker would accept the deal and have a preference. But in my case, if I picked a preference, I would have erased one of my kids because I didn't think that twins were a possibility. And that is absolutely the kind of way I think about things, which is there are possibilities you haven't thought when you're making deals with how things are going to go. And sometimes things can be magical beyond. I can't imagine not being the father of twins. I can't imagine that my life without one of my kids. It would just be horrendous. And, and I knew I was going to watch crazy, great, stupid action movies with my son, which we do. And he gives me the best recommendations for TV shows. And then I also knew I was going to spoil the you-know-what out of my daughter and learn about BTS. Like, that was just the kind of dad I was going to be. That was going to be the thing. And so that's how it is. Yeah, and then you're right. It was so important to remember part of it that I forgot to left out. Yeah, the devil knows that you've got twins. That's the reason for the deal. He knows you're expecting the twins. And that's the trick. I love Darth Gutierrez going, I've always wanted a baby girl, so I guess I'm a sucker. No, both. Like, you never know. What is it? Never be so sure of what you want that you wouldn't settle for something better is a really interesting Chris Voss quote that turned my brain around. Drummer on Fire says, the concept applies to writing music, too. You play off the instinct you gathered through practice and look back at the recording and don't understand why, but it's perfect for the situation. I gotta remember to tell my brother about that, who's a musician, amazing guy. Let me see here. Yeah, Hail Drummer on Fire. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And so I, of course, love to tell God my plans. And my wife can back me up on this. And I said to her when I did my last comic book job, I said, babe, I know I've said this to you 1,000 times, and read her intro in Nosfero if you like. She says it better than I ever could. But I said, I know I've said this to you 1,000 times, but this time I mean it. I'm done with comics. I can't do the kinds of things I want to do. It's impossible to find a way to find fans where I can just speak directly to the fans. And God's like, how about ComicsGate? Let's do that. And my thought would be, well, I'm not going to go and look into comics, so how am I going to find it? Well, I'm going to have a incredibly famous, successful comic book artist at DC Comics, the one company you barely ever read except for things like Killing Joke and Dark Knight Returns. So you're not even going to know this guy's stuff, so you won't recognize his name, and he's going to be talking about Star Wars from a Gen Xer's point of view. And you know that when you're driving back and forth to your college associate professor job and you're listening to a college professor who's dealing with all of the free speech, compelled speech nonsense you're dealing with, Jordan Peterson, here's one for you. This comic book artist who's a Star Wars fan, he's going to have illustrated that guy's book, 12 Rules for Life. What do people... I don't... So I just draw. And paint. It's not my plan. It's my work, not my plan. Show up, work hard, tell a story, deliver, rinse, repeat. Look at what's happening there. Isn't that wild? It's definitely, yeah. The feeling of being helped by hidden hands will blow your mind. And it's happening all the time. Oh, look at that. Just look at what the ink does. I mean, there's so much happening. You know what I mean? Yep. That's a great one. It's my work. Oh, thanks. You guys, I wouldn't have remembered saying that if it wasn't for you guys. It's my work, not my plan. Yeah. It's that need for, and we all have that, it's like, it's that need for control, but it's like, that sometimes it's not about not having a plan. It's not about not having a direction. It's not needing control over the outcome. And that's the big thing, right? So it's like, I see people in the chat. I always say hello to people in the chat, right? It's just one of those things. Like it's great. It's awesome. But I always talk about, because it's the truth, that my wife is a knitter and that my daughter does crochet. Always talk about it. In fact, if you guys don't know, my daughter gave me this awesome present, which is a Nosfero, a crocheted Nosfero. Isn't that awesome? So she made this for me, and I should have known. I'm very thick, sometimes, but she she came to me one time. She goes, "So what color exactly is Nosfero?" And I did not put this. Yeah, whole family of knitters, and you guys know I'm down with them knitters. They're great people. So did I know when I was interacting with Cursed Art Creations what Cursed Art Creations made? No, did not. I certainly never expected a handmade, crocheted Thulu. Did I? Did not. That wasn't in the plan because I didn't know it. And that's the crazy miracle of this place. Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Let me go back to your first one. One time my wife and I were late someplace, and I'm guessing she was a little upset, but I told her to trust God. Turns out that if we had left when we were supposed to, there was a car wreck, and that could have been, yes, that's right. That could have been, us. We have no idea how many times I had the hand of God is taking care of us in the garden. Absolutely, guarding us, yes. Absolutely right. Yeah. And that's, isn't that awesome what she did? It's so great, Cranberry Langers. Love it. Shanth, you might want to come up with a short sword and sorcery story for Barbaric Adventures 2. Oh, is that Aaron's book? Guys, post the link for that. Isn't that, like, it's so wild, man. It's so cool, isn't it? Yeah, Kirst is so talented. Her pieces are really well done. Yeah, I showed, I don't know if I showed my daughter, but I think I showed my wife the CYBERFROG that she was crocheting that was on eBay. Such good stuff. Such good stuff. And there you go. So yeah, there's another aspect of that too, which is everybody knows somebody in their life that if they do a favor for you or if they do something nice for you, they'll never let it go. They'll always remind you did like that. Oh, remember that time I helped you? Remember that time I did something nice for you? Like they're always those kinds of people, right? I have dyslexia. So I'm the kind of person who will remind people, do you remember that thing you did that was nice for me 10 years ago? I'm like the anti-version of that. So, I mean, I say that to my brother from another mother of almost 20 years. All the time I will say to him, I'll go, remember when you helped me with that? And he'll go, dude, I would, like, what are you talking about? But that's what it is. Less than 300 from 25K, guys. The project is Aaron Lepresti's Barbaric Adventures. Yes, exactly. Transactional friends. They're the worst, man. They're absolutely the worst. But it's so important, man. Yeah, oh, yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, I love Aaron, man. If Aaron wants to talk to me about that, he can hit me up. He knows. Like, but you're absolutely right. Like, that's the thing about it. And yeah, guys, I mean, it's like, the gratitude will keep you sane. It will keep you balanced. There's time, and you know what the other thing is too is that sometimes somebody's having a really tough day, and they're being hard on themselves, and they need to be reminded of the good things that they've done for you and the good things they've done for people, and that's a great thing. And there have been a couple of times where I've and hopefully more than a couple of times where I try to remind people of that kind of stuff, because when you're helping a lot of people, like someone like Ethan or Shane or John, and certainly in the case of Springball, sometimes you forget, and all you're thinking about is what you're not getting done right now at that moment. And that's great to be like that, but sometimes you can get down because you just don't remember. Which is why I always say, if you had a teacher in your life that really helped you, I've had so many teachers, or a person in your life. I have someone who has been a nurse practitioner who I've known has been very helpful in my life, and who's been working with me for 15 years, and abruptly I just found out that she's not seeing patients anymore, closed her practice. She's and you'd think if she was retiring that there had been some word, and so I reached out and found out that it was because of some medical news, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this person, what do I do? And so first I talked to the people in the office and told them it must have been a shock, and I hope they're doing okay, and that, I'm so grateful to her and everything like that, which, by the way, is not a problem in the sense of every time I talk to people that I've known for a long time, I always make sure I say everything that needs to be said positively. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I wonder if she knows. No, she knows. Told her. But immediately I started thinking, I need to make a piece of artwork for her. That's what I have to do. Don't know what it's going to be yet. I've got some ideas, but I have to do something like that because it's there's so many times she's helped me out. So many times that she's been really nice and sweet. She knows, my family, as with dentists or anybody else that you see regularly, that you start to have relationships with people, and it's important to know that to let them know and show them some sign of that if it's important to you to do. And I think that's I can't say, yeah, I mean, it's a big part of what we do. Yeah, gratitude will keep you sane. I'll commit that to memory. It's absolutely. I can't tell you how much gratitude is important. Hi again, I started feeling like, oh my God. So I figured I should try eating something. I'm going to cook now. Yes, for the love of God, please eat. That's very important. Very important to do. Yes. Yeah, I think that it's very easy to get, and I've seen this happen a lot in our space, because this is, and I mean this in terms of the social media space, where people get very sucked into comparisons, which is why social media is so poisonous. And in terms of the way that if it becomes your lifestyle, your full-time lifestyle, and you find stuff like Townsend's, you can find all different kinds of things. And what I found interesting is there's a guy who has a YouTube channel called 4 Keys. I think it's 4 Keys Bookworks or Bookbinding or Bindery or something. And we started watching him a couple of years ago because he's just an incredible craftsman. And we tuned into his channel, or I saw this posted on his subs, that he was binding books for the of the 3 books by the author who did Project Hail Mary, which is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you guys will, it's so worth it. What's up, Chad Kaplan? How are you doing? Chad Kaplan Animation in the house. What kind of Tombow is that? So this is, sorry, the camera there. This is, I'll show you the thing. Oh wait, do I have it upside down? This comes in a 3-pack, and I don't know what it says. I'm just seeing that. It came on a 3-pack from Amazon. Oh, I'm not even holding it on camera. Sweet baby Jesus. Thank you, God, for watching over me and not making me step in, down manhole covers and fall to the ground. But look, this right here is the brush pen. So it's a gray brush pen. It's got 2 sides, which will probably narrow it down. One's a gray, one's a black. And it's really, really good. So he's doing some bookbinding work of those 3 books. And then I learned, and he's got, I think almost 1 million subscribers. I learned that he was doing it for the author. So the author sent him his copies of the book, the author who wrote those 3 stories, The Martian, Project Hail Mary, and he was doing the project for the author. And it's when you put your skills out there and you share that kind of stuff, you never know. And he's brilliant. He films, not only does he have all the bookmaking craft, but he's so good at filming his stuff. It's so great. It was Project Hail Mary. Really, really cool movie. Really great. Oh yeah, Apex Comics. I'm backed 54 of that, and number 1. Oh, Barbaric is at the Barbaric Adventures. Huge bargain. Yeah, isn't that great? Oh, sorry, I was driving. No worries. I'm parked now. I always think people won't like crochet stuff. Oh my gosh, but it's the only artistic way. Crochet is awesome. Crochet is awesome. Yeah, it's great. Oh yes, I've heard great things. Yeah, it's a very he talked about how so much of science fiction and so much of entertainment is about the apocalyptic future. And this comes into the idea of, for me anyway, what we were talking about with serendipity and all of that kind of stuff. So I was in line at a McDonald's. Don't judge. Don't judge. I was in line at a McDonald's up near Salem, Massachusetts. I was commuting home from work, and you know how they have the two different drive-throughs, like lanes at McDonald's. If you don't, you're probably healthier than I am. And I saw that in the other lane was a veteran of the Afghanistan and Iraq War. He had bumper stickers all over the back of the car, and I started thinking about how when you've had really tough experiences, you can become adverse to surprises and happenstance, because surprises and happenstance in a very life and death situation are things that raise concern. And so I pulled in real quick, ordered as fast as I can, and I was able to get in front of him at the drive-thru, which I know sounds probably less than ideal, but I was able to get in front of him in the drive-thru, so he finished his order right after me, so I was able to get ahead of him at the drive-thru at the McDonald's. And when I pulled up to the window, and I knew the guy who worked there, he had just made manager, because I talk to almost everyone, even though I'm an introvert. But the guy at the McDonald's had just made manager. I wish I remembered his name, but it was like 7 or 8 years ago. That's going to bother me. And but he's a terrific guy. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, man, Keith." I said, "Oh, my God. I need help." It's either Keith or Kevin. It started with a K. I can guarantee. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure on that one. Not definite though. So I get up to the front of the thing, and I said, "Hey man, the guy behind me, the car behind me belongs to a vet. I want to pay for his McDonald's and my McDonald's. Can you put his bill on my tab? And when he pulls up, I'll be able to get out of here so he won't know who I am." And the dude just like looked at me. It was great when you know people. And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, and I know some of you guys have probably done this before, but he was like, "I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this before." So I was able to pay for his McDonald's and then bail. And I thought, every now and again, some stranger coming out of nowhere and doing something like that can just be that thing. You never know what kind of day somebody's having, but something like that, as small as that may be. Now, you could argue that by paying for him to eat McDonald's, I was not helping him. I think that is, or her, or whoever it was. But those are the little things, man, that we can do. Little things all the time, man. And that's the stuff that's the gold. You just don't know where anything's going. It all helps. It all helps. Look at that. That's wild, man. The pencil just does things. I was thinking about another funny time. Sorry, because my daughter is home. Little Miss E is home visiting, and there was this time I was in the grocery store with Little Miss E, and what was so funny about it was that we were at a grocery store. And, yeah, I know. It does. I agree. Corey Landis, you speak the truth. There's wisdom in that. I was at a grocery store, and it was late at night. It was about to close, and we were running up there to get something. And this woman had this exhausted look on her face, and she was buying a little bit of food and a plant. And she's like, "Oh, my God." And she had this panic look on her face. And she's like, and then she tries to call her kids who are in the store, and I think they were teenage boys, so they probably weren't picking up. And I realized she realized that she had been in such a hurry to get to the grocery store that she had left her wallet at home and didn't have any money. So I went around and I said, "Is this what you're buying?" And it was some magazines, a plant, and I immediately thought, as I saw this, someone's in the hospital. I'm not sure if I was right, but I thought, I bet somebody's in the hospital. She has that look when somebody you know has been admitted to the hospital. And I thought, she's in a hurry. She's out of it, so she left her wallet at home. She's buying a plant for the hospital room and some magazines for the person to read. It's in the middle of the night, so she's about to head back there. And of all the things, like, she's hanging on by a thread. And of all the things, because you can just tell when you look at people that she forgot her wallet. Like, this is the, like, please God help me kind of moment that I find myself in all the time. And so I went around and I went up to her. I was like, excuse me. I was like, do you need help? And she's like, no, I just can't get my kids on the phone. They're somewhere here. I don't have my wallet. And I'm like, and I said, oh, I'll pay for this stuff. It wasn't a lot. It was just like a couple of things. And I was like, and have a great one. Have a great Sunday. Take care, Siege Perilous. And so what I did was I was just able to cover that, you know, I paid for her stuff, and my daughter was watching, and she had this little beaming face on her. Oh, daddy's doing something good. You know, it's nice to have that in with all the mistakes. And it was like, you could just tell, and she had this look of relief, like she couldn't believe it. And what's funny is, because I approached this person and because she looked so panicked, one of the manager working there came jogging over to see if I was bothering this person. It was hilarious. And then the manager found out what I was doing. It's like, everything's okay. You know, we're taking care of it and everything like that. And then she said, can I have your address so I can pay you back? And I was like, again, guys, this is the thing. I just said, pay it forward. Just pay it forward and we'll get there somehow. And because I know I've been in situations where people have helped me before when I was exhausted. Pete Cimetti, when the first Nosfero campaign, when almost nobody knew me, I went on to Pete Cimetti's, pitched my comic book, help Pete, back Pete heavy if he's got any project going on. He's going through it now too. And Pete Cimetti had me on the show, and I was $5 away from Nosfero, the first book, this book you see right here, hitting its $5,000 funding goal. It was $5 short. And when Pete found that out, after I did my 1-minute pitch, it was very Art Bell, Ghost to Ghost, funny enough. Pete goes, wait, you're $5 away? Oh, I'm keeping you on here until we get to that goal. And someone in the chat whose name I wish I remembered their handle name. Oh, I've got to go find this and look this up now. It's going to drive me crazy. Said, Shanth, I got you. And donated $5 to the Nosfero campaign. And that moment was brought to you by Pete Cimetti and all the amazing backers we have. Springball is at 34K right now. And I don't even know how to like word it. It's just magic. It's just magic, man. And yes, thank you, Apex Comics, and God bless you, and I'm so grateful, man. And you're right, Curse Heart Creations, 100% it does. And Ethan launched the Nosfero Second Chance campaign with Dale's poster campaign on the same night. I messaged him when I was feeling really down, just dropped. Both of our kids went off to college the same weekend. And I just dropped my son off and everything, so I was just feeling that sort of empty nest thing. And Ethan was like, absolutely, I'll launch you on Nosfero. Launch Nosfero Second Chance campaign. Let's do it. And John was the same way with launching Springball, and Mandy and Shane were so helpful with Springball throughout its run. And Shane closed out the first 30 days, and John closed out the 60 days on Springball. And then created a cover and said, I drew a cover of Springball if you want to use it. Okay, if you twist my arm. Ridiculous, man. I don't know. I don't know. And you know, John is an atheist, but he's Old Testament atheist. Never forget. But he's just been great. It's been great to get to know all those guys, and you know, and creating, you know, hard art and doing all the stuff for that has been great. Just all these chance opportunities, and also just chance that you don't always have to know where they go. That's the miracle of it all. That's the miracle. And I'm so grateful for it. Yeah. Paul Schmidt's guitar, that's right. Oh, yeah. That cover's so awesome. Such a great cover, man. And John he crushed it with Springball. Guys, if you haven't seen the cover, the link to Springball is in the description. It's so good, man. I backed Springball with MALIN'S cover. I'm stoked for it. Yeah, man. John is a legend, and he's as I always say, he was the first man over the wall. Him and your boy, and they made it happen. And so many of these folks. I remember when I was on the stream and we were talking about hard art, and they were talking about a show. Then someone joked about it being called Hard R, and then it went from there. And someone in the chat suggested, "Oh, what if you called it Hard Art?" And then John started a room on X, and it was Shane, me, and John, and it was like the discussion over hard art or not, and then immediately I started thinking about logos and ideas for the show, and I put those in the room. And then John was like, try this, because that's the cool thing about working with John is he's really good at riffing off of people and just being open to things, and when he doesn't like something, he's clear he doesn't like it. When he likes something, he likes it. And if you can find a zone in the middle, you get great stuff. Absolutely right, Apex Comics. Everybody knows this about John. He's a riddle wrapped in an enigma. And so when you guys see the cap, where and this is just me painting in acrylic, but the idea of using that expression that goes back to how they used to talk about movies. They would go, it's an R-rated movie. Well, is it a hard R or is it a soft R movie? And I know it's used for other things now, but it was that idea of that having the R rating aspect to it, and using that as the design hook for it, and then finding the right font, which was this font that I love to use. Tried a couple of versions of it. And then it becomes a show, and before you know what's happening, it becomes something that people are watching every, on Wednesdays. They're making time for the show. And it's been fun, man. For an introvert like myself, I don't have a lot of folks that I have very, very close friends, but not a wide circle of friends. And in the sense, well, actually that's not true too. I have a wide circle of close friends. How's that? And but it's been really great to get to know those guys. And Shane and I have so many things in terms of, like, I can finally talk boxing with somebody and fighting and how to throw a punch. And did you see this clip? Did you see this knockout? Because Shane is a fight fan too. And also loves Godzilla, loves kaiju, all the stuff I love. John likes H.P. Lovecraft movies, which I'm obsessed with. Minutia of editing and or of lettering and ink work and things like that. And there's stuff that they're interested in that I don't know about, and then it's just that great cross-pollination, man. It's right, absolutely. Let's get that Toy Story music playing, right? It's wild how it works. Again, Christmas magic, as that movie Violent Night said. I still don't know how it works. It's Christmas magic. There we go. Oh, man, this could be a dragon now that I'm looking at it. I wasn't even thinking about that, Darth Gutierrez, but now I'm looking at it going, ooh, do you guys see it? You guys see that starting to happen? And this wouldn't exist if Mikey hadn't said, I feel like I've never seen you draw. You don't know where this stuff is going to go. It's a luck dragon. It absolutely is. Oh, man, I loved Falcor, man. You know how it goes. Leighton, you know how it goes. So, yeah, guys. Well, who knows where this stuff goes, man, and who knows where it'll be. But this is the other aspect of what I do. This is what you see when you see Springball. This is what you see when you see Nosferatu. It's all part of it. And that's why, for the thumbnail for this, I was like, I painted all three of these because it's there's so much. There's so much to do and so much to experience. And I love the serendipity of it all. I'm so glad to get to spend these Sundays with you guys. I never know what's going to happen on the stream, what we're going to cover. I just know that I have to stream. every Sunday at this time. So if you're new to the channel and you see this for the first time, bookmark us for 3:30 to 3:45 every single Sunday. It's Comics and Curios inside the studio. You'll get to see what I'm working on. You'll get a chance to ask questions, obviously, in the chat. And I'm going to show you both art, books, whatever we've got going on. And you guys are my lucky charm, and thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys in Zaid Studios. It's great to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. It was fun drawing with you on Kings the other week. I don't even know what week it is anymore because my head is, is totally in a spin cycle. But and doing that cover for you was another bit of serendipity. Actually, on that note, too, let me grab that cover real quick, which you have the original, so I can't show the original, but I can show this. Let's see here. There we go. So if you guys are not familiar, before I fall down, if you guys are not familiar with Beckoned and Beckoned Recourse, this is one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done. And this is the painted cover I did for Beckoned Recourse, a beautifully crafted and illustrated book, and one of my favorite covers that I've ever done. And it just took me into a landscape that I would not have thought of if I had not been commissioned to do this cover. And the original now resides with Jeremy, and what a pleasure it was to do. So check out this book, guys, and we'll just keep doing what we do, and we'll see where it goes. And wherever life takes us, we'll be here. Channel member Skeleton Core Comics, hail! What's up, man? Appreciate all of you guys. It's like voluntary Sunday school. I hope so. I hope it's good and it's affirming, and I appreciate you so much, Cursed Heart Creations, for that wonderful, wonderful crocheted Thulu you sent me. Thank you so much. And let me see. Yeah, that was a fun cover to do, and thank you, Skeleton Core Comics. I do appreciate it. And speaking of channel members, guys, it's a great story indeed, Leighton. Yeah, guys, check out that book. It's killer. Thank you, Apex. So, guys, I got to wrap up because I have a feeling that I'm late for dinner as always. I heard a lot of cooking going on. So let me close by, of course, saying this, guys, and reminding you that you guys are with me in the studio where we have all of these fun adventures. And I'm so grateful to all of you guys. So everybody who's a channel member, you guys are going to see your names in the credits in a section. But let me say this. From the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanthan Jetty. You've been watching Shanthan Jetty Art. This has been Comics and Curios Inside the Studio. Speak easy. Stay cold. Stay gold. No, don't stay cold. Stay gold. Keep the faith. And peace be with you guys. I will see you guys very soon. Give nihilism no quarter. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much, TA. I appreciate it. Thank you, Scorpio. Appreciate you. Jeremy Burtz, thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate you, my brother. Let me see who else have I got here. Spaceman, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mikey, for your suggestion and for the serendipity of the day. Apex Comics, thank you. Leighton, thank you for being a channel member. I can't imagine the channel without you now, man. It's a trip. Hey, Skeleton, thank you, Cursed Heart Creations, for everything. Infamous Mr. Curse, thank you guys for your patronage, your support. I appreciate it. Thank you, Darth Gutierrez. Great seeing you. Mark's Music Obsession, my brother, Thank you, man. Thank you. Simply Green, thank you. Let's see here. My other brother. Great seeing here. Love you, brother. Let me see here. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day, ComicsGate, indeed. Thank you, ComicsGate, all of you guys. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Here are the channel member credits. I will see you guys very, very soon. They are updated. See you next Sunday, God willing, and the creek don't rise.